Welcome back to Overtime Fantasy, where we go beyond the whistle to bring you home a fantasy championship. I'm Mike Kinder. I'm here with Phil Corella, Tyler Jeffries, and Dan Hudgens. How's everybody doing today?
Yo, 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 yo! Feeling good.
Did you guys I honed my inner sports announcer, I'm up in the booth of a little league game.
Yeah.
I tried my best. I'm not real good at it.
Too.
yeah. I'm only in the booth when it comes to baseball, dude.
No,
I am
in the little leagues.
Huh? Yeah.
In the little leagues.
Yeah, I am dog shit at baseball.
Welcome to the batter's box, Logan.
I bet you used to scare the crap out of people though when you walked to the plate.
I wasn't 6'6".
Whatever.
At
I don't
8 years
believe you.
old.
I don't believe you.
Kinder was
I
born
can't
5'12".
imagine you tiny. So
I was born 215 pounds, 5'12". God.
Kinder comes out with his ogre sludge hammer, just ready to freaking go to town, and then he can't even swing, can't even hit the ball.
I had Kinder play slow pitch softball. He was a pitcher, and it was intimidating him, throwing an underhand, shh.
I would throw the ball and immediately start talking shit while the ball was in the air. That was my only go-to. I would sit him on first base and I would talk shit to the batters. I either played first base or pitcher, and it was just that's the only way I was having fun because I was dog shit. I wasn't that good. I was slightly below average. Let's put it that way.
When you were in coach pitch, and the coach has enough time, he throws the ball to you, 6 times before they bring the tee out. How many times do they bring the tee out for you to hit?
No, not at all. I was good up until the 7th grade, and then
You got bigger.
No, I got in trouble with my parents, and they wouldn't let me try out my 7th grade year. And then I went my 8th grade year, and I was just so far behind everybody, and it wasn't a good outing for me at that tryout. And honestly, if they would have called me, I would have probably still not gone.
Well, I'm sure the coaches were just tired of bringing out a 6-foot piece of PVC pipe for you to hit off of.
Yeah, regular bat's like a toothpick.
So look, this kid's just too damn big, all right? Let's just cut him. It's not worth our time. He's bigger than the coaches.
If you want to imagine Kinder playing baseball, YouTube Big Al. Big Al's Dingard.
Yeah.
That is my boy, man. Big Al. Oh, man, I wish I could adopt him.
All I do is hit dingers.
So Dan, you opened up during our warm-ups and our testings and all of that during the sound checks. Said you had a joke. What is it?
Yeah, it's to honor all of us being fathers now. Tyler got a new dog, so we'll count him as being dad. So
Congrats, Pops. I got my dog baby over here.
Don't be jealous.
I am, because your dog dresses better than my son.
Your son is seriously low-key just a hippie, dude. Honestly, if he didn't have to put clothes on, I would imagine he wouldn't care.
He runs around pretty much half the time naked, yeah.
He's so chill, dude. It's ridiculous.
He's a free spirit.
Did you break your phone when you dropped it right there?
No, it's
No, I see the screen.
Oh,
I see the screen. Okay, so I got a dad joke. Okay. What did the fisherman say to the magician?
I don't know.
I don't.
Pick a cod, any cod.
That was so corny.
It's a dad joke. It's supposed to be corny.
I get that. Dad jokes just piss me off, honestly. I hate them. I hate dad jokes.
I love them. They're the best.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. Maybe it's the family I grew up with. I don't know.
I don't know, man. You sound pretty corny to me sometimes. Shit, I don't know, man. You corny right now.
Oh, boy. All right, well, that was a good 4 minutes.
The worst 4 minutes of our
The
podcast.
worst 4 minutes.
No, it wasn't bad. We got to
was
talk
fun.
about how you were 6 foot tall getting born out your mom.
People that listen to this and they don't know who we are or anything are probably just like, who is this guy? I got to see how big, because that's all you guys talk about. It's how big I am.
Kinder's 7'4".
Go to TikTok and you'll see it.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about just kind of get ourselves as well as everybody else kind of caught up on all this movement that happens during the offseason. So normally when fantasy football starts rolling back around again, the end of July, early August, a lot of my time spent any type of studying or trying to figure out anything in preparation for the draft is where the hell did all these players go? You know, you got a lot of players that get switched up. I know last year it was like game 3, and I'm like, what the fuck? He didn't play for them. So that's kind of what we're trying to eliminate now is trying to, one, for ourselves, get ourselves back on track, but as well as get anybody that may be listening kind of understanding like where people have gone. So we're going to do it by division. We're going to do 4 teams a podcast, and we're
Start with the worst.
Start with the worst. Oh, the Colts suck so bad.
We're not going with that.
But yeah, so we're going to start with the AFC North. What do you got, Phil? Come on.
Nope.
Come on, Phil.
Nope.
All right, so yeah, so we're going to start with the AFC North.
saying it.
What I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to run through all the players that have been signed or re-signed, traded, anything like that. Just what these teams have added to their team and what they have also lost. And I'm not going to go through every single person, every backup or anything like that, but I am going to talk about the people that we think or I think can affect fantasy this year. So let's. Anybody got anything before we jump into it?
Shit, man.
You want to talk about your fur baby?
No, I want to get
Want
into
to talk
this.
about your dog?
I want to get into the worst division.
All right. So let's go ahead and start with the Bengals just because that's the note card that I have on top. So the Bengals this year, and like I said, I'm talking about what they've signed, re-signed, or drafted, and then also what they lost. So what the Bengals lost this year, Alex Erickson, Randy Bullock, AJ Green, John Ross, Geno Atkins, and Giovanni Bernard. Those are the main people that they lost this year that could pertain to fantasy. I say Randy Bullock. I know he's a kicker and all that, but I had to talk about it.
Kickers' lives matter too, bro.
So what they've gained or what they've re-signed, some of the bigger re-signs or whatever, Thaddeus Moss, Mike Thomas, Samaje Perine, Eli Apple, and Larry. Help me out here, Larry.
Ajaganobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
They drafted Jamar Chase, Jackson Carman, Joseph Asaya. Sorry, I got caught up on that one. Cameron Sample, and a few others. You know, running back in a center. They really addressed the offensive line in this draft. I think that they were smart with that. Finally get Joe Burrow a little bit of help. They got him his favorite wide receiver in college. So the floor is y'all's. You know, we can talk about, you know, where you would draft some of these players. There's a couple that are really worth talking about and everything. And then after y'all get to talking a little bit, and I'll go through and I'll just kind of say some of their key components of what's on their roster right now.
Okay, I'll start with this.
Jump in it, bro.
Because even though they're by far the worst real team in this division, I'm just intrigued by this offense. I think that it has a lot of upside. Joe Burrow going into year 2, and usually quarterbacks they have a significant bump in their pass attempts in their second year in the league. You look at their receiving core. You have Joe Mixon if he can stay healthy. I think this is an offense that, you know, they have a lot of weapons. Their defense is still going to be pretty weak, so I see a lot of I see a lot of potential shootouts, you know, for the Bengals. I don't know how you guys are feeling.
I feel
about
that
them.
same way. The only thing I don't like is that running back situation. I mean, unless Joe Mixon can stay healthy, you definitely want to draft Joe Mixon. Let's just put it that way, because I don't see these other running backs getting any kind of burn in there at all. Now, they might be passing heavy because their wide receiving core is stacked. You know, Jamar Chase, that connection with Joe Burrows, that could be lethal, but we'll see how that goes and we'll see how that plays out. I think I talked about it last podcast. I'm not in love with the fact that he didn't play last year. He kind of opted out, and having to get back into football condition, which is a lot harder than we think about. But I do like the fact that Joe Burrows has a lot of LSU targets there now with Thaddeus Moss and Jamar Chase. So I don't know. I'm not really drafting anybody high on the Bengals unless it's Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think the one thing that they did do, like Kendra said, was they addressed a little bit of the offensive line, try to keep Joe Burrow up. Hopefully he can stay healthy because when he was healthy last season, I mean, he was throwing dots.
He was.
And so with him getting familiar targets like Jamar Chase and Thaddeus Moss, who all played at LSU with him, you know, that's something that gives you a little bit of a comfort level because you know how those guys play.
Yeah.
So if he can at least get a little bit of protection and, you know, he could stay healthy, I don't mind taking Joe Burrow late. I feel like he'll be a good, quarterback if you're taking one in the teens. And Jamar Chase, he should be very good. I mean, he's only ever caught a pass from Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to ask is, I know it's early. We haven't even started mock drafting or anything yet, but somebody like Jamar Chase, where are you willing to draft somebody like that?
Well, I think you want to definitely wait for your draft. Wait as long as possible to have your actual fantasy draft because minicamp and all these injuries that happen. Jamar Chase, I see some pulled muscles. I see some problems happening just because it's the NFL. It's a lot. As much as we want to say it's not that much different speed wise, it's different.
Yeah.
All right, it's more demanding. Everything is a lot different. So
I feel like if you're going to draft Jamar Chase, you're going to have to draft him 7th or 8th, round. And that I feel like that's probably where he'll start going. But like you said, you got to wait until offseason and mini camps because he did take that year off. So, but if they have a full OTA and offseason, it's going to help him. He's going to be in football condition. The only thing that would be very bad for him is if it's a shortened OTA like last year.
And I guess it also depends on how many wide receivers that you have at that point. So let's say you have 2 starters that are definitely 1 and 2, and then you want to take a chance on Jamar Chase. Yeah, I would definitely do that then. But I think that's going to happen, and like you said, around those 7th or 8th rounds. So, yeah.
All right. So my next question is, what does Jamar Chase do to people like Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins?
Definitely helps them.
Yeah.
It's definitely helping them because there's going to be less double teams. I mean, the routes are going to be you basically you don't have to scheme around things. You don't have to run any pick routes or anything. You can do more one-on-ones and it'll be more of that type of a situation. You won't have to have all these different schemes to get people open because you got 3 wide receivers now that can all get open.
For me, out of all the receivers in Cincinnati, I feel like right now, as it stands, Tyler Boyd is undraftable for me. I feel like I need to see what's the scheme. I feel like T. Higgins' draft stock goes up a little bit, but if I had to pick a receiver out of all of them, it'd be Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. I don't know about Tyler Boyd.
I'm going T. Higgins regardless.
Yeah.
T. Higgins, him and Joe Burrows built a connection last year, and I was saying this when he got drafted. I said, "Look, man, they just got a steal right there."
Yeah.
When he went to the Bengals, I said, and he went late too.
It was a second-round pick last year.
I said he's going to be one of the best receivers coming out.
So I think with all 3 receivers healthy, that they're all going to eat into each other's production.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to happen. I mean, Tyler Boyd, he's probably the most underappreciated fantasy wide receiver over the past at least 2 years.
Yeah.
He's just been solid. He's not going to, win you the fantasy league. He's not going to carry you, in particular weeks, but he's somebody that you can put in your lineup, and he's somebody that's just reliable production.
Yeah, he's consistent. He is.
Like a bye-week filler kind of thing.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to target Chase. And, I think, and it's kind of hard to predict rounds, but I'm thinking, with any of these receivers, I think T. Higgins probably starting off is going to be more productive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at it as an upside pick. Jamar Chase, just like you mentioned, I'm going to look at it as more of an optimistic view. Once he gets his NFL conditioning down, I think his existing chemistry with Joe Burrow is going to make it a smoother transition for him into the NFL.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on. I think that's enough about the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a very interesting team when it comes to fantasy this year. They've added a lot, like Tyler said. That help with the offensive line is really going to help the running backs. Going to help Joe Burrow. Those receivers that have a little bit of time to get open. I was really upset that they drafted Jamar Chase at first, but what they did in the second, third round to really stack that offensive line really made me feel a little bit better about them.
Yeah, I'll throw one more thing. I mean, I look at this offense, just like you said, Kendra, you lose A.J. Green. Jamar Chase is better than A.J. Green at this point in football right now.
Absolutely.
And then they upgrade the offensive.
I'm sorry, I'm going to argue with you.
Like right now?
Right now, I don't see that. You can't take a veteran and say that a rookie's better than him right now.
Well, yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Like fantasy-wise, fantasy relevant?
No.
Are we just talking about...
I think Dan's talking about athleticism-wise
Oh.
and health-wise. Jamar Chase is better than A.J. Green right now.
If I had to choose between Chase and A.J. Green, I know what I'm going to get out of A.J. Green. I think he's just... he's been through a lot of injured seasons. He's well past his prime. And, you got Jamar Chase that, just like we talked about, I mean, he's only caught a pass from Joe Burrow. So I'm gonna trust that they can regain that connection.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Dan there because Jamar Chase, he has the potential of being the number one. I mean, you got over here A.J. Green. DeAndre Hopkins is the number one. And then you have, he's just always hurt. The knowledge is there, but, I'd take Jamar Chase over A.J. Green.
Yeah, I just got to point out, like, I'm recording some TikToks and stuff as well, but we're all in this garage just sweating.
Oh, hell to yeah. Man.
It is so bad. Like,
we got these churro lights beaming us in the face.
I'm over here just like wiping sweat off my brow and stuff. I'm like, God, I feel
This is like ESPN hot take.
I feel like such a fatty, and I look over and everyone else is sweating. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. You ever watch like baseball, like in the summer, and you got the pitchers, like they're sweating so much, it's sweat off the brim.
Yeah.
It's almost like that now.
Yeah, we could have that happen. Yeah, for sure.
I'll grab the beer. Okay.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
I was getting up to do it.
I asked for a beer, and Tyler just gives me the finger.
You gotta give a little bit of shit for that.
All right, so moving on, let's talk about the Steelers a little bit. So with the Steelers lost, I feel like the Steelers lost a good little bit. Not a whole lot of people, but a lot of key people.
Yeah, definitely.
They lost Bud Dupree on the defense. They lost Vance McDonald, Marquise Pouncey, James Conner, and Alejandro Villanueva. I feel like that offensive line took a huge hit. They added a little bit, and so what they either added or re-signed was Kalen Ballage, Juju Smith-Schuster, Dwayne Haskins, Ray McLeod, Najee Harris was drafted, Pat, say it again, Fairmouth. I thought that was an S. That's an R. I can't write. And I just can't pronounce that guy's name. He's the tight end for Penn State. Kendrick Green, Dan Moore, Buddy Johnson, and Isaiah Loudermilk. So real fast, I got to actually interview Isaiah Loudermilk, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he's the first one we got to talk about on this podcast that we actually got to interview. I feel like the Steelers are going to take a dip. I don't know why. I was just talking to somebody today at work, and I told them I feel like Big Ben is going to have a lot of, he took the pay cut and everything, but I think his play is going to go down, and I think he's going to be in the highlight a lot, and it's going to make him look bad. I don't know. I just feel like he's not going to have a good season this year.
I think I've said this about the Steelers a lot, just not out loud, but in my head, like, I hope they're lousy, just because the Shipyard's sake. I hope they're lousy. But the Steelers, they are always consistent when it comes to player development and finding players in the draft that work well for them.
That's right.
I will say that about the Steelers. Now, they did lose two very key parts of their offensive line, but I feel like they will have enough skill set in the coaching staff to build those players up around. And also, Big Ben is a big veteran. He's been in the league for a long time. He knows his stuff. If he can be as smart with the ball as possible,
he has been.
then I don't think they'll miss a beat. At first, I think it's going to struggle a little bit, but at the end of the season, I think they'll still be exactly where they were last year. They have too many skill players to not. I mean, think about it. Najee Harris, that dude, going to the Steelers was the perfect spot for that guy to go to.
Yeah.
Tyler, I was still at Tyler's house when it got drafted, and Tyler kept saying, "This is Najee Harris. This is Najee Harris," and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. And when he finally got drafted, I was like, that totally makes sense.
You
like,
think about a
totally
running back that
fits
you want in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's somebody like that who's built like a tank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
that's who you want.
Well, the only thing that I hate about it is, like, I'm going to touch on it just a second, is they lost Alejandro Villanueva and Marquise Pouncey.
Yeah.
Those are two veterans on an offensive line that struggled last year. You know, you lose those offensive linemen. I don't care if you draft Najee Harris. You know, you have to have an offensive line to run the ball. You have to have it so Ben, who's been getting hurt a lot here recently, can pass the ball so the receivers can get separation. I agree with Kinder 100%. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they could be the worst team in this division coming up this season.
Ooh,
That's
that's
bold,
hot
man.
take.
That's awfully bold. I don't see them.
Everybody else addressed the situation and the needs that they needed.
I agree.
And the Steelers didn't. They drafted, playmakers, and I get it. You can't have enough playmakers on an NFL team. We see it with the Chiefs. We see it with the Bucks.
Yeah.
You have to have an offensive line. We saw it with the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. If you have no offensive line, you're dog shit. I mean, and I feel bad for the Steelers. I feel bad for Big Ben. You're restructured. You're probably going to get hit a lot. Your body's not going to take it. Steelers get ready for Dewey Haskins.
Hey,
Oh
but
my
I mean,
God.
you're not wrong with that. Like and it could happen. Like Big Ben, he's getting older.
I just don't see it, man. I really don't. I wish for it every year, and it never happens.
I also agree with that too.
I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you there will not be one Steeler on my team this year, and any of my teams.
I would
one
definitely
Steeler.
take Najee Harris.
Not
Like,
one Steeler.
Probably
Look,
not where he's going to go.
Let's
'cause
put it
he's probably
this
gonna
way.
go really high.
Regardless if they don't have the greatest offensive line, they have an offensive line that's in the NFL who's capable of
you're
blocking
right.
people.
You're right.
Yeah, and we said the same thing about Kansas City in the Super Bowl, and look what happened.
You're forgetting that Kansas City made it to the Super Bowl with
Yeah.
that offensive line.
And Patrick Mahomes ran for negative
Dude,
500
but
yards.
you're not understanding. You said to the Super Bowl. We're not talking about that. We're talking about an offensive line that'd be like completely shit with no offensive weapons.
Well, they lost it like late into the playoffs is what I'm getting at. They had the offensive line.
But they made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but what production did that running back have in the Super Bowl? What production did the Kansas City Chiefs have in the Super
They
Bowl?
also have Patrick Mahomes.
They don't have a running back.
Yeah, and that's
Because they didn't have Damian Williams.
Exactly.
They also, I mean, it's also Patrick Mahomes, who's also younger, more athletic.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You got Big Ben, who's basically now, he is Big Ben. He is a statue that's going to be sitting in the backfield.
So let me. This is a stat I kind of looked up before I came over here. So Big Ben last year had over 600 pass attempts. You would think with that many pass attempts, you're gonna throw for 4,000 yards, and he didn't last year. So I went back about 10 years and looked up all the quarterbacks that had 600 pass attempts and did not have 4,000 yards. And you had Sam Bradford's rookie year. You had Derek Carr, he was just checked down Charlie, I think 2015. You have Joe Flacco, you had Carson Wentz's rookie year, and you had Blake Bortles. So I'm kind of with Kinder. I think
Blake Bortles.
yeah. And it was the year that he was. They took him to the AFC Championship, but from a fantasy perspective, we saw Big Ben start off really good. He was hot. Mm-hmm. The latter half of the year, there was no more evidence than on that primetime game against the Bengals. He was just like a shell of himself in that game. And it was almost like watching Drew Brees last year. Drew Brees had that, he started off good, he got hurt, and he kind of just wore down. And I think Big Ben's going to do the same thing. And I'm not going to say that the Steelers are going to be a bad team because of it, but from a fantasy perspective, I will be avoiding Big Ben. He's just a streamer in my opinion.
Yeah.
Are you drafting Juju?
And that also, try and correlate that with the receivers. You have 3 receivers they're good.
Yeah.
They all had 100+ targets last year. Now you throw in the fact that Big Ben he's well past his prime, probably his last year. You have Juju is probably the 3rd best receiver on that team. Yeah, and I like Juju, but Deontay Johnson's better.
I hope you like Juju.
so
You
much
married her.
I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Shout out to Juju.
Shout out Juju. She will never know that we shouted her out. But hey, you know what?
I'm going to tell her right when I stop talking. I'm going to text her. Like, listen.
You have to listen to this podcast because you are in it.
So,
Talk about Juju a lot.
yeah. So Deontay Johnson is the clear-cut one for me. I think Claypool will have the most upside
Definitely.
if Big Ben can regain that, Big Ben of 3 years ago, we'll say. Because he has that big playability. And we've seen it where, early in the year he caught that 4-touchdown game, and we're like, wow, this guy's just a superhero out there.
Guys, I'm sweating like Louis Lastic after a 2-a-day. Good God.
You mean after you ate a Snickers or something?
Peeled a banana and I'm sweating like a...
The only player that I would draft from the Steelers would be Najee Harris. That'd be it.
See, I said nobody would be on my team. If it's on a dynasty, I might consider drafting Najee Harris just because I feel like they will address the offensive line eventually.
Absolutely. It's
But
the
in
Steelers.
a redraft league, I love Chase Claypool. I don't trust Big Ben. I love Najee Harris. I don't trust their offensive line. Eric Ebron is a guy that he gets the targets.
You love Eric Ebron.
I won't draft him. I mean, it's the fact that I have so many unknowns all around Big Ben in that offensive line that I do not feel comfortable drafting any of the offensive line or offensive players for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I could say the same. You can almost say the same about Saquon Barkley, though. Like, if you think about he had a shit offensive line his first year, second year. I can see the same situation with Najee Harris, but at least Saquon Barkley still produced.
Yeah, but
You know
Saquon's got calves the size of Kender's head.
You have no idea. Have you seen Najee Harris?
Yeah, I mean they're big, but they're not
Have you
AJ.
Have you seen Kinder's head?
Yeah, they're not.
Sweating right now.
They're not AJ Dillon, Saquon
Listen.
size. Like, I mean, Najee. Like, we talked to Najee. I mean, he is a huge running back.
Who was it that named their calves or their quads?
Oh, AJ Dillon.
Was
Yeah,
it
it's
AJ?
AJ
You
Dillon.
said AJ
Squad.
Dillon. I was like, what was it?
Quad Squad? Is that?
No. It was
Quadzilla. Was it Quadzilla?
It was 2 different names. I'll look it up here in a second. I'll let y'all know. Anybody else want to talk about anybody on the Steelers?
I'll say this
I'm
about
stole out.
look, Najee Harris. He's a workhorse running back. He's gonna pretty much be a guy that's not gonna leave the field. He's gonna be the goal line back. And fantasy football, it's valuable. He's gonna probably go as a top 12 running back, and rightfully so, because he's just gonna get the volume.
Yeah, he will get the ball. I agree with you 100%. He is going.
Now, if you want to avoid him because of the offensive line, I think that's definitely a concern. But when you get past that top 12, you're looking at timeshare running backs.
Yeah.
All right, so he named him Quadzilla and the Quadfather. All right, so
That's clever.
Yeah, it is. he made it funny.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Good on you, AJ Dillon.
I get it.
We'll talk about you never again.
All right, let's move on to the Browns. So the Browns lost Terrence Mitchell, they lost Larry Ogunjobi, and they lost Sheldon Richardson. What they've added, re-signed, or gained in the draft is Anthony Walker, Malik Jackson, Rashard Higgins, Cody Parkey, John Kelly, Jadeveon Clowney. They drafted Greg Newsome. We'll just say the linebacker from Notre Dame, Jeremiah something or another.
Three names.
From the 757. Anthony Schwartz, James Hudson, and Tommy
Today, Junior.
Togia. Togula. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these names are really killing me, and I read at a 4th grade level, so I'm really trying my best out here. And they also acquired John Johnson as well in the secondary. I love the Browns. I've hated the Browns my whole life because I am a fan of the Browns, but they are really addressing every issue on that team right now. Their offense is looking great. Their defense is looking great. Juju Smith-Schuster said it the best last year. The Browns is the Browns, and I'm afraid they're going to do Browns shit and really disappoint me and fuck it up in the playoffs or fuck it up and not make it to the playoffs. But those are just the nightmares I live every year being a Browns fan. Let's really just talk about some of these players that are on this team that you're willing to draft, maybe where you're willing to draft them, what this team is going to look like this year.
I'll start. I'm going to say Nick Chubb is going to be a top 5 running back.
I agree.
Like, hands down, top 5. I mean, he missed, I don't know how many games. I want to say 6 games, or was it 7?
It was enough to be like, you shouldn't be in the top for rushing yards.
And he was still a 1,000-yard rusher. Yeah. And the Browns, look, under Stefanski, they were the 3rd ranked rushing team. I mean, their identity is they're going to run the football. They upgraded the defense. I mean, that is, I would want to have a later round pick to where I will grab Chubb, and then, on the way back, maybe have that, ability to get someone like Kelsey to shore up that tight end, need, or a top-notch receiver. But outside of Chubb, I'm not really too excited about anybody else. I know you got Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's going to be he's going to have, his share of work too. But as far as Baker, Mayfield, Beckham, Landry, Austin Hooper, those are guys I'm just, if they fall to me at the right price, I'll pull the trigger, but I'm not going to target them.
My favorite late round pick right now, I'm in love with Anthony Schwartz, man. Dude is fast. He's going to play, lights out. I mean, he's good for a guy that's going to take the top off of defense. And speaking of defenses, I will try to draft the Browns defense in almost every league.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be able to get them if you're a 15th, 16th round defense drafter, because I assume somebody's going to see all these players and they're going to be the assholes of the league, and they're going to draft them in like the 5th or 6th round like an idiot. If
they do that, I hope they just lose.
Don't be an asshole.
I would probably draft them in the 12th round, and that's coming from a guy that waits till the 15th, 16th round. They just have so many. I love Clowney. I love the Greg Newsome signing. You got Myles Garrett still. You signed Malik Jackson. I mean, they're going to be able to stop the run, and they have that 7'5" dude, Jeremy, with 3 names, who's fast. I mean,
Jeremiah.
Who cares? And you signed Anthony Walker. So I really like that defense, and I'm going to target them.
Yeah, I agree. I was so surprised. I was really upset that they didn't go with that linebacker in the first round. And they went with Greg Newsome. I'm like, cornerback doesn't need to be addressed as much as that linebacker, and he's there. And then they get him in the second round. I was like, oh, shit, why am I, like, I'm not a GM. Why am I over here judging the Browns?
I'm not going to question them.
And then, like, I was really upset that they didn't get the defensive tackle from Ohio State. And then they get him, like, 2 rounds later. I'm like, they know something I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I know a lot, but I don't know shit compared to some of these people, man. It's great.
The Browns is the Browns.
Browns is the Browns, and I hope that they're maybe like the 80, 85, 86 Browns, go back a little further with
no Super Bowls.
No, we get some championships. We'll go back to when they won championships.
We'll go back to the 40s.
Hey, I go back to the 10s. I don't give a shit.
We'll go back to the 40s when there were 4 teams.
Let's win some football games. I really hope. I'm happy this year. Like Phil. Phil's had a lot of depression when it comes to football, and then his team comes out and wins the Super Bowl last year. So
I hope you all lose.
I want to hear Phil's thoughts. Yeah. Phil's was shaking his head.
No, I agree with what you all were saying. I just it's amazing to me that the talent they have at the wide receivers, but I'm still second guessing even taking one of them on my team.
It's because it's Baker. I mean, you don't know what Baker's showing up.
Exactly. One week Baker shows up and you're like, damn it, I should have started Odell. Or I should have started Jarvis.
Right.
Then the next week happens and he fucking snake bites you right in the... Seriously. He's like, I'm going to throw for 20 yards this game, and Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb is going to take over. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. And I only feel comfortable drafting one of those two running backs, but how are you going to pass up on Odell and Jarvis, and then there's some rookie right there, you're like, you know what, the rookie looks better than these guys.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just worried about Odell. Last 2 seasons, been hurt. He doesn't get a lot of receptions. Jarvis, I mean, I will target Jarvis. Jarvis, ever since even Miami, he is a guy that catches almost every ball.
He does all the dirty work for you.
And, you know, you still, I said,
He is a Brown.
I like Anthony Shorts.
He's a Brown, bro. He gets dirty.
You still have guys like Rashad Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones above Anthony Shorts. I feel like, for me, when I said I like the rookie, I like him late round just because I know he can produce.
I wasn't talking about that rookie. I was talking about any rookie in general.
Oh, true.
I wasn't talking about, like...
You said wide receivers and then rookie, and then I'm just
No,
like...
I was saying, like, you know, let's think about any other rookie wide receiver
Like
over
Jamar
Odell.
Chase.
Yeah, okay.
I'm taking Jamar Chase.
Let's say
over
Jamar
Odell
Chase
Beckham.
is there, but you see Odell and Jarvis, you're like, you know what? That quarterback situation for the Browns is kind of... Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Let's address that real quick. Hold on. You said you're taking Jamar Chase over Odell?
Yes.
Well, let's say he's coming off of ACL.
I don't.
He didn't really get a lot of burn last year, but not a lot of targets, not touchdowns while he was in the game. I mean, think about it.
Are you taking Tyler Lockett over Odell?
Hell to the yeah.
Yeah. Look,
Tyler Lockett.
here's the thing.
Definitely.
Baker Mayfield threw under 500 pass attempts. The volume is just not there in this Browns offense.
And here's the thing, like
Y'all be all fucked up over here, Tyler.
I'm just trying to like see because Dan's saying, you know, Jamar. I'm just trying to see.
You taking Scotty Miller over Odell?
Are you taking? Are you taking Will Fuller over Odell? He just went to the Dolphins with Tua.
You know, I probably not.
That's another quarterback I don't trust.
Yeah, you know,
That's one of the, I mean,
yeah. But like here's the thing with Odell, man. Like he hasn't done it like that really since he's been with like New York.
He's been with injuries the last few years.
He's a misfit.
And
he's a misfit in offense.
He is, man. Like I watched him against the Bengals, and he was just like at one point in the game, he's pacing up and down the sidelines, just kind of talking to himself. That man ain't right in the head, man.
See, I hope Odell listens to this. I think Odell is very
He's not
toxic for the Browns.
I'm going to go ahead and just let you know he's not.
I think this is what I'm saying. I think the Browns are worse with Odell on the field because
I
Baker feels and Kevin Stefanski feels like, hey, we got to throw the ball to Odell. He's going to bitch. He's a diva. He did that in New York. We got to throw the ball to Odell. Doesn't matter. But when he was gone, Baker was wide open, throwing it to Higgins, throwing it to Peoples-Jones, Jarvis. You had Kareem Hunt out the backfield. Like, he was actually on fire. I say y'all trade Odell, figure out what you got to do.
Here's what I
Let's
want.
go.
I want them to
Odell
trade
to the
Odell in a draft pick or two for Julio Jones. That would be amazing. But not going to happen.
Yeah.
Look,
you know what? I
Julio's
think
coming
he
to
would
Colts.
actually go crazy in Atlanta. Honestly, I think that him and
gosh.
It could.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Next another podcast.
Yeah.
All right, that's all. Yeah.
But I'll say this about Odell Beckham because I was all in on him last year. I had him on at least half my fantasy teams, and the best thing that happened was that he got hurt, so I didn't have to contemplate keep him in my lineup just because I drafted him so high. He got hurt, I got him out, and because if you look at his game log, he had that game against Dallas where he just completely spazzed out. He had those 2 receiving touchdowns, that long rushing touchdown late, but outside of that, it was nothing.
Are we just going to ignore the fact that I really don't think he tore his ACL? Like, did you not see the injury? Like, it just kind of looked like he kind of got bumped, man. Like, it didn't look like anything.
Damn, conspiracy theory?
Well, when you see the big old scar coming down his knee, then we can talk about.
Hey,
That's
look,
drone on.
It's a tattoo, bro. He got a tattoo.
He's
I
committed.
got a scar tattoo. Thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, but I don't know, man.
Anything else with the Browns, y'all? I think they got a great offensive line. I think they got a great backfield. Baker Mayfield kind of fits their system that they're running right now.
He definitely
I don't
does.
really think he's great in fantasy. He may be streamable. I wouldn't draft him to be my number 1 quarterback,
Right.
unless I'm in the 10th round and basically all of them are gone. I'm going to keep tanking all the way to the 14th round and pick him up there, but I don't think he's going to make it that
Yeah,
far.
I'll say this too. Keep in mind, last year he had 2 games where he played in a tornado, The winds were like 50 miles an hour. There was no passing.
Yeah.
And he had a game against the Jets where he literally had 45th string receivers. So
It's true.
Yeah.
he had nobody to throw the ball to.
Oh yeah, because they were all out on COVID.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
That's
So-
COVID is a thing of the past.
You know, you look at his stats and you say, but again,
Their
The
system
identity
is, built
is
around
run
that
the ball.
running game, man.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So let's move on to the Ravens. So the Ravens lost Orlando Brown. I think that's their biggest loss. I think that's their biggest loss. Two-time Pro Bowler, hell of a offensive lineman. They lost Willie Snead and they lost Mark Ingram. Those are the biggest ones I could think of. Excuse me. They gained or re-signed or drafted Kevin Zeitler, Sammy Watkins, Alejandro Villanueva. They drafted Rashad Bateman, Odafe Uwa, Ben Cleveland, Brandon Stevens, Tylen Wallace, Sean Wade. I think it was a very sneaky late round. Can really help that defense. And Ben Mason, running back from Michigan. They had a solid team at the end of the year. They didn't really need to address too much, and I think what they needed to address, they did with Kevin Zeitler and Alejandro Villanueva. I think that's going to really play into Lamar Jackson looking great and everything. But I'll let y'all take it away. Like I said, they lost Mark Ingram, Willie Snead, and the offensive tackle, but they had an offensive tackle. So
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you lose Orlando Brown, but you bring in Kevin Zeitler and Alejandro Villanueva, so you kind of address that offensive line. But you bring in Sammy Watkins, and Sammy Watkins, he's a solid receiver. He's a guy that, can create separation. I'm hoping that he can go back to his Buffalo days where he was that number one. Rashad Bateman is a very good wide receiver that they drafted in the first round. So it really... I'm sorry, Dan's got to scoop back.
That beer was that important.
Dan's got to scoop back. But the thing is you draft these guys, it all relies on Lamar Jackson and his passing ability. And I saw the first video Baltimore Ravens put out. That guy for the social media should get fired. He threw a duck. I mean, a duck to Sammy Watkins. Ball was wobbling. Sammy Watkins still caught it, which is great. But, I mean, that was a horrible pass. And that's the one thing that's bad about Lamar that we're just trying to hope he gets better and better and better at. He has that rushing ability, but we need him to keep being able to pass that ball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if it's one thing that the Ravens did this offseason is they got a lot of good wide receivers.
Yeah, solid.
They didn't get a great wide receiver, though.
Yes.
They didn't have
Yes.
that one guy that is the number one target.
Yeah.
If you look around, they got Hollywood Brown, they got Rashad Bateman, they got Tylen Wallace, they got
Sammy
they
Watkins.
got Sammy Watkins,
Yeah.
who will be hurt by week 4.
Yeah, right.
All right, they got Mark Andrews. Okay, they have a solid core. Okay,
Devin Duvernay.
Okay, exactly. Another good wide receiver. They all have good talent.
Yes.
They don't have great talent. They don't have DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones talent.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
So what you only did for me, if I'm looking at the Ravens, is I'm drafting J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
I'm drafting J.K. Dobbins. I'm hoping that, or Mark Andrews, because to me, those are the two guys that are definitely going to get it done for you.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, safety net, is a tight end, and the Ravens like to run the ball unless they're trying to switch up the game plan and throw to all these good wide receivers. J.K. Dobbins is the one you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying. Like they don't have that standout star, but they're a team, man.
Yeah,
Like they
they
play.
are, yeah.
So I think a lot of them wide receivers. I think the way that they're going to spread it out and everything, it's not going to be like
It's not a fantasy dream. It's really it's a nightmare if you have them on your team.
But I do think that they're going to give you solid points week in and week out. But we're talking 7,
6,
8, 9,
4,
yeah,
5 maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Touchdown.
you
We'll
just
give it
got
7.
You got to think for the
Give it
organization.
7.
They have a lot of depth at wide receiver, so it is good for the organization as a football aspect. It is horrible for fantasy football.
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to get Hollywood Brown to be that number one guy, so they, you put Sammy Watkins out there, so he can't be getting other coverage. You put Devin Duvernay, you put Rashad Bateman, you put Miles Boykin. I mean, You have 6 wide receivers. But I feel like Mark Andrews, like you said, Dobbins, especially with Mark Ingram leaving, those are really the only guys that I'm willing to draft unless I can get Hollywood at a good price, because I know he's going to be on the field. Sammy Watkins, he's probably going to get hurt. You never know how they're going to be rotating the other guys out, but Hollywood as a wide receiver is going to be on that field if they're on offense.
Yeah, like I think that's the biggest connection for Lamar would be Mark Andrews and then Hollywood Brown as far as the passing goes. But other than that, I mean, you're really hoping that it's a touchdown week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're praying for that one touchdown that's going to help you out.
And as a fantasy fan and as a if you're a Baltimore fan, you're praying nothing happens to J.K. Dobbins. I mean, Gus Edwards is fine, but
Gus Bus.
Yeah,
Hill is good, man.
Yeah,
I'm
Justice
telling
Hill, but like he hasn't done anything in the NFL yet.
He's been the 4th running back. You know what I'm saying? But
now, is there something going on in practice where he's just not good enough to
Well,
step up into that number 2 role?
You got Mark Ingram, and you had,
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, what do you think about this?
So,
Hey, Dan, you want to talk about it?
hey,
Speak, bro.
I just went and grabbed beer. I don't need to talk.
Speak.
But okay, let's start with Dobbins. Okay, Dobbins is a guy that I think everyone's going to target. Right? For me, I don't want to reach too far for him because at the end of the day, it's going to be a timeshare. Like it's going to, whether you like it or not, they're going to have Gus Edwards split work with J.K. Dobbins. Maybe not a 50-50, maybe something like a 65-35, something along those lines. You look at Mark Ingram a couple years ago where he had just a super efficient rushing season. He was averaging 13 rushes a game.
Right.
That offense was just clicking on all cylinders. So, I wouldn't be reaching too far for Dobbins because I don't. If he was a workhorse, like if he was getting 20 touches a game, absolutely. But they're not going to be involved in the passing game, and just like I said, they're going to be splitting the work.
The one thing that I do like a hell of a lot more about Dobbins is his big playability, though. He's going to give you those big plays, and he's going to break away. He's got that speed. Gus Edwards, he's a bruiser. I get it, but I think you reward the running back that gets you there more than like, oh hey, I just got you all the way to the 2-yard line. Gus, get the hell in.
Here's a question.
Gus, get in here.
So let me pose this question: you have Najee Harris, who's getting all the work, or someone like J.K. Dobbins. Who would you be like right now?
Right now, I'm
you're
going
feeling?
Dobbins.
Dobbins.
Definitely.
I'm kind of feeling Harris and his workload.
Well, just because
That
Dobbins,
offensive line.
just because of what Dobbins did last year, though. At the end of last year, Dobbins was the number 1, and he was tearing it up. And
yes.
He won me a championship last year.
Dobbins is going to be the workhorse. I mean, they got rid of Mark Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Gus Edwards and Hill. You're going with Dobbins. His reward for him showing out the end of the season was, hey, Mark Ingram hit the fucking road. We don't need you. We got.
And we're
Dobbins.
not even going to draft another one.
Yeah,
You know
what I'm
he's
saying?
going to be
That's
the
the
guy.
thing that got me. I was like, wow, they didn't even address the running back situation. That's really good for Dobbins.
Yeah.
But instead, they got all these really good wide receivers.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we don't even know how good they will be, but
Yeah, I mean, you could put Michael Thomas in this offense, and I mean, this offense, Lamar Jackson is not a guy who's going to light it up through the air. He's not going to do that. The offense is centered around him just being the playmaker, whether it be in the read option, that
RPO kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just centered around him just making the plays and being the guy. It's not going to be a guy that'll spread you out and just pick you apart through the air.
I'll spread you out.
I'll pick you apart.
Pause this podcast. See what happens. So
What'd you say?
Huh? What?
What'd you?
Dude, what?
I'll make you love me, boy.
Be careful what you wish for.
But no, I get I see what you're saying though about the workload, because in the past the Ravens have gone with the hot hand. They have been like, okay, well, Gus Edwards has done good. All right, give him 5 carries this round. Come around, give Mark Ingram 2. J.K. get in there, give me 3.
Now keep in mind, past 2 years they were the number 1 rush team in the NFL, and it wasn't really that close.
Yeah.
If you look at the production of the rushing attack, you had Lamar Jackson, and you had the first running back, which was Ingram 2 years ago, Dobbins pretty much last year. There was a second running back that was kind of digging into that production. That's all.
It was Mark Ingram.
No,
not last year. No,
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram was inactivated for.
Was all jacked.
Kinder could tell you.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Tell me.
Yeah, I sure as hell got 11th place because of that shit. He was really, I was banking on him, man. I really thought, because like you said, with them having such a good rushing for, the past 3 years, and I was like, oh, man, Mark Ingram's going to light it up. He did great last year. Like, it's going to be awesome. I'm so pumped. Like, they're not really going to get J.K. Dobbins going until, a little bit later in the season. I was so pumped for Mark Ingram in the 4th round. Oh!
Unlucky!
So bad.
Yeah, I would have choked on that. And the audience don't even know what I'm talking about.
No. We got a game here that we play with bottle caps that if you throw your bottle cap to a person that is currently drinking a beer and you hit their bottle and they got to chug that beer. So I try to do it while talking and not looking at Dan, and I totally missed. So.
And he poked my eye out.
Yeah, right in the face. In the face! But yeah, Mark Ingram screwed me last year, so.
So, Lamar Jackson, how early? So, last year, he was going as early as round,
early.
3, maybe even earlier in some
round
cases.
2 in some leagues.
Yeah, so.
I don't like drafting a quarterback until at least 5 or 6.
Yeah, he's not.
Nah, I'll never do that again.
I tell you what, Patrick Mahomes is there in the first round. I'm about to take him.
Nope.
I'm being honest with you. So I'm just joking with you. I can't do that.
I'm not drafting a quarterback.
You're not drafting a running back.
He-
How are you going to fill your
I'm
team?
drafting
amazing.
6 running backs
Used
and
to
then
draft
a
nothing
few
but running
receivers
backs.
and then 6 more running backs.
Are you hoping that Tebow has QB eligibility?
I hope so.
Hey, hold on. I got a question for you. Can we get Tebow as the tight end so when he gets in at quarterback on some plays, I can still get double points like Taysom Hill?
That's what he was just saying.
No, I'm just trying to say.
Oh, my bad.
I need clarification for our
I didn't know
league.
if you...
You shitting me, Clark?
What?
Is this real?
He's getting cut. There ain't no way.
All right.
man.
They already signed him.
We're not talking about that division, that trash division.
Super.
He said, "Wow, shots are fired." Y'all got anything
I
else
know
on
it's
the
hot in
Ravens?
here, but you just got red.
Did it get cooler for you guys?
That's another
Hell to the
episode,
no.
another day. This was a good podcast.
Let's end it on
we had fun. We had
Yeah.
fun, and that's all we're shooting for anymore.
I think we're dehydrated.
A little dehydrated, little woozy.
I stopped sweating 20 minutes ago.
I'm going to have to get checked out by the doctor for heat exhaustion.
Definitely.
I got the car started.
We got liberal leave for this podcast? Is it hot enough?
Y'all are ridiculous. All right, y'all got anything else?
No, I think we covered everything.
All right. Thank
We didn't
y'all
talk
for
about
listening.
any of these kickers at all.
Yeah, Randy
I
Bullock.
said
We talked
kickers
about him.
lives matter,
We
bro.
talked about Randy Bullock.
All right, so
I'm drafting Tucker way before Lamar Jackson.
There's a better chance of Tucker being on my team than Lamar Jackson.
all right. Well, we thank y'all for listening. If you listened, till next time.
What division are we doing next?
I don't know what division y'all want to do.
Some NFC.
Yeah, we'll do
NFC
South?
East.
Okay.
Why don't we just do
That
NFC
trash
North?
division.
Why don't we do NFC
Yeah,
North?
so we did North.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do
All
North.
right.
That's what I
Tune
planned.
in to the next podcast to
Yep.
see the NFC North.
Yep.
You're not going to see it. I mean, you're going to hear
You're
it.
going to hear it,
Listen
and you're going to feel it.
No,
If you see it, I want your power.
Feel it down in my plums. A bluish hue.